Well, this sure came as a surprise that nobody expected anytime soon. On June 1st, 2023, the nerf for Unholy Host has been finally announced, and it's got a lot of reactions from the public. Me personally, I think it's completely deserving. I have abused the shit out of that variant from the very start, and the nerf is completely justified. But exactly why is it justified, and why do so many people want it? Well, that's what we're going to analyze during this video, at least the first part, so you can get a grasp as to how she used to be incredibly busted, and this new patch is a lot more balanced, I would say. So to start off, we have the following: an instant full buff wipe, on the same level as Chaos Banish. Already that's pretty potent, pretty much getting rid of anything that the opponent has. But furthermore, she has Hex and Cursed packed along with this buff wipe. If that didn't click as overpowered for some people, let me put some comparisons. The cases of Stage Fright and High Ruler work pretty similar to Unholy Host. The main differences being when their abilities activate. Stage Fright's Hex and Curse triggers when the opponent drops below 25% health, while High Ruler needs to hit the opponent with a tier detonation. Both of these are either janky or can take a while to get on the field, and they need outside resources to cover the removal aspect, like Dragon Bite or Canopy Bounce. So what does Unholy Host need for comparison? A singular tag-in. That's all it takes to remove all of the buffs and inflict a 20-second Hex and Curse. Keep in mind, the other two examples last 15 and 10 seconds respectively, so 20 seconds for such an easy condition is an absurd length. Furthermore, this also triggers whenever either Unholy Host's teammates die or one of the opponents do. I bring this up because Sketchy used to work like this, but she got nerfed because of it. It's still likely that Unholy Host gets nerfed this way, but the forum post didn't mention anything related to it, so we can only speculate. And this is only one ability, right? The second ability is just as powerful, because with just one debuff of any kind, and at any spot of the field, she will constantly drain 2% health from the opponent. That's essentially almost consistent 2% recovery throughout the entire match. And it further adds up with a no time to die marquee, reaching a total of 7% health recovered at 5 regeneration stacks. And this is incredibly profitable on defense as well, because Host will leave the player without any abilities to speak of, only specials and blockbusters, and maybe cleansing supports. All the while she almost gets to always recover 7% HP. Now obviously even still she has counters, such as moves that inflict heal block, remove debuffs, or best case scenario, transfer the debuffs to the opponent. But it's fair to say they're not necessarily a common resource. And to say that the players need to get good and work around this massive wall is not a good argument. We have powerful defenses, absolutely, we have Model Eater and Assassin's Creed, but at times they do not compare to the proficiency and obnoxious factor of Host. That being said, the developers took notice of this variant's incredible proficiency at any field really, so around the patch notes of 5.3 they made the notice that it would actually nerf her, and just a couple days ago, indeed they revealed her new and more balanced ability. Now instead of inflicting both Hex and Curse, she only inflicts Curse, already reducing by a landslide her potential utility. As for the health drain, it only works on Curse. Suffice it to say, it's much more limited and it needs a lot better planning as to when to use her. You cannot bring her blindly on any situation. If you ask me, these changes are perfectly fine. I think removing Hex over Curse was the better option, to make her a much more focused, extreme buff controller. Not to mention that Deathwish already took the role of Hex, so giving Host Curse makes her a little more standout. As to limiting the heal with Curse, that's perfectly fine as well. It even complements nicely Black Dahlia's kit by using Empower as an extra drain source, should the curse from the ability expire or get removed at any point. But the big question is, exactly where can I still use her? She may not be overpowered, but she can more than handle situations. Buff control, like I mentioned, is still powerful. She will be able to take care of Frost Armor and Final Fight nodes with relative ease. And with the health recovery provided from Curse, she will also ensure to provide high scores at the end. It's also because of this recovery that she's still a good candidate for Don't Poke the Beer nodes. So a critless build is still more than possible and advisable. However, what she can no longer counter as efficiently as before are the following cases. Assassin's Creed would be a good example. Now Host is affected by the HP loss, so using blockbusters ad nauseum is not advisable in the slightest. Immoral Fire has now her HP explosion enabled again, so you're gonna require Hex support if you choose to carry Host against her. Model Eater and Rose Tinted become more annoying than before, because now they themselves can get rid of the curse, and in both cases can lead to obnoxious buffs. but at the very least Black Dahlia has access to Deadeye, so it's not too much of an issue. Similar case with Evergreen Evil. She can get rid of the curse, but again Deadeye counters it. It's still not an ideal matchup, but it's definitely possible. And for a last example, there would be Splitting Mimage, where you technically even out the HP loss with the recovery, so it's technically countered, but not to a major degree. And now the $1,000,000 question, is she still worth investing, or should you dump it in the trash alongside the rest of Andy's broken toys? Of course she's still worth investing, for fuck's sake. I mean, she still has an instant buff wipe and recovery, plus an easy 20-second curse. Those are pretty strong assets, and I think HPS understood this. They actually chose to make her still powerful enough, but not to a ridiculous degree. And that's the $1,000,000 question. The $1,000,000,000 question, on the other hand, is she better than Death Wish? Well, for the sake of contrarianism, yes.